Hey, what is up, guys? Okay, so obviously I said yesterday we would post a video today. We had a couple questions yesterday. Funny enough, they were all themed around the same thing, which is, I think, along the lines of the water intake. So not necessarily along the themes of the exercise or the movement of this week. Um, Maybe you guys are a little bit concerned in terms of, I see everyone is posting a lot about how much water they've drank and how much they have to go, and that seems to be a big focus. I'm going to quickly talk to you a little bit about water intake, about water retention, and those kinds of things. I'm going to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, okay, first things first. The underlying question here is: can you drink too much water? You can. You can drink too much water. We would never put you in a position where we telling you to drink 3.5 liters, and that's too much for you. We're still within a very safe range of how much water we're drinking. Um, some people could potentially be drinking even less than 3.5. Like men or slightly bigger people could drink more or need more, and slightly smaller people and some ladies could get by with less and still stay at very well hydrated levels. But obviously, this is just now for the specifics of the challenge and making sure that we hit a specific amount each day, and we've got a target to work for. So 3.5 liters is a good number. So that being said, after the challenge, you could very easily go and decrease your water intake slightly and still be very well hydrated. It's not to say that you have to be drinking 3.5 liters, and that is the health marker. It obviously it's different. In hot days, you're going to need more, and cooler days, you'll probably need less based on how much you're sweating and how much you're exercising as well. That being said, you can firstly drink too much overall, and more specifically, you can also drink too much in a very short space of time. So if you decide, I want to drink all 3 of my liters within the first hour of the day just so I can get it done, that is a problem. That can be unhealthy. You could actually even develop something called hyponatremia, which basically causes swelling in certain areas, even specifically on the brain. And you'll definitely know if this happens. You'll experience nausea, you'll experience vomiting, um, and yeah, it's something that will definitely be noticeable. So as long as you're not experiencing any of those symptoms, we're safe. And even if you drink a liter in one go, that's fine. It's just sort of in excess of that in a very short space of time can be detrimental. Also, what happens is if we drink too much too quickly, we throw our electrolyte balance off, or our normal homeostasis or electrolyte balance within the body. So our sodium and potassium levels and all of that gets thrown off balance because obviously the additional water dilutes into the sodium, and then we obviously have less volume. So basically, your body's an amazing thing. So it's not to say that now all of a sudden, did I drink too much? Am I short on sodium or potassium or electrolytes? Your body self-regulates over time. But this is just a few points in saying that we can avoid drinking lots of water in a short space of time. Okay, so that answers the question of, can you drink too much water? I think we all safe in that sense. But moving on to water retention. So basically, water retention, obviously, feeling a little bit bloated, feeling like you're carrying excess water. Um, a lot of the times we obviously carry water. Our bodies are made up predominantly of water. So what happens is you will notice as well, if you, let's say, go away for a weekend, or you have a binge weekend where you eat unhealthy foods, a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of sodium infused foods. What happens when you ingest carbohydrates and sodium? Your body carries water in with that, and then you hold on to and retain that water. So if you've ever experienced going away or having a really tough weekend, or bad weekend of eating, you come back and you weigh yourself on the Monday and you're like, oh my word, I picked up 4 kilos of weight this weekend, and you stress, and you definitely didn't pick up 4 kilos of fat. That's 100% certain. And you will notice that going back into a sort of clean eating phase, um, you'll tend to lose that pretty quickly. So, within a couple of days, you will drop that excess water, and it'll be lost. So, not to worry about that kind of thing. Obviously, it is good to avoid those types of things. You'll see as well, if any of you have potentially gone into a bit of a low carb um, eating cycle now through the challenge. You've reduced the amount of carbohydrates. as I said, when you ingest carbohydrates, water goes in with that. You might also feel as though your body dehydrates, so you might urinate more than usual, and then there's a loss of water. So that's essentially also another question that was asked around the water retention was, how does salt affect water? So ingesting salt and sodium, firstly, aren't exactly the same, but ingesting too much sodium and too much salt can also cause water retention. So if you do feel like you are retaining water unnecessarily, and the only real thing that you could kind of figure out that's changed is your salt intake, you could potentially reduce that salt intake and see if there is a difference. When it comes to retaining water as well, so basically what I'm trying to say is during this challenge, we shouldn't necessarily be holding on to any water unnecessarily, because any water that we drink in excess, or we're drinking 3.5 liters, so in excess to normal, we just excrete. So it comes out of the body only keeps what it needs. The only other ways that we could be retaining water is due to higher salt intake, higher than normal salt intake. Also, stress. So if you feel like you are stressed more so than normally, and your cortisol levels are higher than usual, that could also be a factor in retaining water. And then another one could be also, look, it's unlikely that it's for all of us, because we have been exercising beforehand. But if you get into some sort of high intensity exercise and a lot more than usual, the process of the muscles repairing and the muscles being damaged also requires water to be kept and stored inside the muscles. Any other factors could potentially also be around, if you started taking creatine or any other sort of supplement changes. But it also very much depends on where you're feeling like you're retaining water. So what specific reasons might you feel that you're retaining water? You got puffy hands, puffy face, puffy, or your stomach feels bloated. So it could be for a variety of reasons. But again, so just to kind of summarize, I don't think we are drinking, well, we are definitely not drinking too much water. And if you're keeping your salt intake at an appropriate level, you shouldn't be retaining too much water. If you've dropped in carbohydrates, you should be actually losing a little bit more water. So any other factors that could be determining, that you might be retaining water, we need to potentially just have a conversation and maybe try and pinpoint exactly what it could be, because it could be for a number of other reasons. So guys, hopefully that helps. I want to try and keep the video a little bit short. We did only have a couple questions, but yeah, if there's anything else, you can also comment on this. I'll post it on the group, and then just comment or message me privately, and we can also cover the topic as best as we can. But yeah, guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, and don't forget, we will see you on Sunday at Red Barn at 9:30. We'll see you there. We're looking forward to a hike. If you have the time available, we'll meet there at about 9:30. We'll do a 30 to a 40-minute walk, nothing too crazy, and then we'll maybe just have a cup of coffee there afterwards, and just enjoy each other's company for a little bit. Okay, great stuff, guys. See you then. Have a great day.